Fiorello H. LaGuardia, 1882 to 1947. November 1922, having served congressional terms representing Lower East Side of Manhattan just before and after World War I, LaGuardia is returned to Congress and serves 5 consecutive terms as Republican representative for the Italian and Jewish constituency of East Harlem. Leads House in opposing President Harding's sales tax and denouncing his failure to address Depression suffering. Also opposes prohibition. November 1924. In presidential election, outspokenly supports Progressive Party candidate Robert M. Lafayette, rather than the Republican President Coolidge. January 1931, New York Governor Franklin D. Roosevelt calls Governor's Conference to deal with Depression problems of unemployment. LaGuardia praises him for promoting inquiry leading to labor and unemployment legislation that he himself had urged unsuccessfully on President Hoover. 1932, as a maverick Republican and defeated lame duck congressman, is chosen by President-elect Roosevelt to introduce New Deal legislation in lame duck 72nd Congress after Democrats' 1932 landslide victory. November 1933, running as antitrust Tammany candidate, elected Republican Fusion, and later, in addition, American Labor Party, mayor of New York for first of 3 consecutive terms, set out as activist mayor to bring economic recovery to Depression New York by fostering public works projects and establishing and increasing public services, denounces fascism and American Nazis in response to Nazis labeling him Jew Mayor of New York, quips, "I never thought I had enough Jewish blood in my veins to justify boasting about it." September 1938. After Hitler dismembers Czechoslovakia, LaGuardia attacks Republican isolationists and takes side of FDR in growing interventionist controversy. September 1940. Though Wendell Willkie is said to be considering him for vice presidential running mate, LaGuardia again deserts Republicans as he did in 1924 with Senator George Norris, forms Independents for Roosevelt, and openly campaigns for Roosevelt's 3rd term. August through November 1940. With war looming, Roosevelt favors LaGuardia for Secretary of War, but chooses Republican Harry Stimson instead, appointing LaGuardia chairman of the American side of the U.S.-Canadian Defense Board. April 1941. Accepts unpaid position for FDR's Director of Civilian Defense while continuing to hold office as mayor of New York. February through April 1943. Presses Roosevelt to return him to active Army duty as Brigadier General, but Roosevelt, having failed to grant him a cabinet position or consider him for a running mate, declines on advice of intimates who consider LaGuardia too provocative. The disappointed mayor returns to his street cleaner's uniform. August 1943. Wartime racial strife that previously struck Beaumont, Mobile, Los Angeles, and Detroit, where there are 34 deaths in June, 21 riots, erupts in New York's Harlem. After nearly 3 days of vandalism, looting, and bloodshed, LaGuardia praised by black leaders for strong, compassionate leadership during riots that leave 6 dead, 185 injured, and $5 million in property damage. May 1945. A month after FDR's death, announces he will not run for a 4th term. Famously, before his retirement, he reads the funnies over the radio to New York youngsters during a newspaper strike. After leaving office, accepts directorship of UNRRA, United Nations Relief and Rehabilitation Administration.